Okay, are we ready to go, Mike?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. I don't believe we have any closed session, so I'm not going to ask for public comment on closed session, but I would ask to read the roll, if you would, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes, of course. Please state your name for the record. Members from the City of Colton.
Frank Navarro.
Thank you. Members from the City of Loma Linda.
Phil Duper.
Dusty Rigsby.
Thank you. Members from the County 3rd District.
Dawn Rao.
Thank you. Members from the County 5th District.
Joe Baca Jr.
Thank you. And members from the City of San Bernardino.
John Valdivia.
Ben Reynoso.
And Member Fred Sherrod is in the audience.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
We're good to go. Mike, do we have any items to be added or deleted?
No item, sir.
Okay, we'll deal with conflict of interest issues as they arise, and let's jump right into informational items. Oh, I'm sorry, we totally forgot the Pledge of Allegiance. Then would you mind, sir?
Please face the flag, put your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's move into informational items, yes. Mike.
Okay, we'll make this short and sweet here. We have a brief update in the folder there on the grant initiatives that are currently in play. Just want to acknowledge Ms. Miriam Beltran and her great work. These are the grants we currently have. We're constantly going after additional project funding. So information is in the packet. Projects you've seen in the past, just understand we're working the work and trying to get these to construction. But I do want Mr. Cousineau to give you an update on the annual audit. We've had some new GASB requirements this year, and in past years we've been able to present the audit at this meeting, but this one's a little different. So Mark, if you would.
Thank you, Mike. This audit is, I would say, proceeding on track given the fact that we have GASB 87, which is a new reporting and disclosure requirements for leases, and the airport has significant leases, and we are a little bit behind the 8 ball getting followed up on that, but we are now on track with the leases. We are in the midst of field work as we speak. Interim field work has been completed. We have about 3 items that are open right now with the external auditors, which is Eide Bailey, and they have their team working on it. We expect those items to be closed out this week. They're relatively easy. With that, our expectation is the audit will be completed in January.
That concludes our reports.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the consent items.
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk.
We have a motion by Member Valdivia and a second by Member Baca Jr. Please state your vote for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Duper.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Rao.
Yes.
Member Baca Jr.
Baca, aye with abstention on number 9.
Okay, abstention on number 9. Thank you. Member Valdivia.
Yes.
Member Reynoso.
Yes.
And Member Sanchez.
Yes.
Thank you. The item passes.
Thank you very much. And just, I don't know if it matters, but I actually think it was the mayor that made the second. Was that correct?
Mayor Navarro. Oh, I apologize.
Mayor Navarro. Okay, moving on to board action items. Number 10.
Oh, I actually am going to defer. It helps to know what item we're on. So it's bittersweet, but we do have some outgoing board members, and tradition is to acknowledge all of their contributions and dedication, and I would defer to the chair to go through the resolution. I would think we've got one of the honorees here today, so if you would, Phil.
Yes, so not sure where the resolutions went. I signed them a little while ago.
Michelle's got them. Sorry.
Awesome. So we want to recognize Mayor Valdivia for his long and very hardworking years of service here to this board, and to this airport, and this redevelopment agency. So I don't have the text in front of me. I'm not sure if we're going to read it because that would probably put us here another hour or so. It's fairly lengthy.
So that's Ken.
But I do think we need to have a speech from the recipient.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, it's been indeed a great honor and delight to be part of this board for the past 4 years. We've seen significant growth here at the San Bernardino International Airport. My comments will be brief, and I just want to say thank you to my wife and my 2 children. They have lent me and loaned me to the city and to the airport here for the last 4 years. It's been fun. I've had a great opportunity to see growth at the airport, and I want to say my thanks to all the members. You members, commission members, are really key to see the airport grow, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your professional demeanor and conduct over the past 4 years, and thank you for your contributions. Also to the to the airport staff, Mike, you've been a delight to work with. I really do appreciate you and Mark and all the professional directors here at the airport. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We're also recognizing Member Suchel and Member Persky with the same resolution. So they're unfortunately not able to join us, but we will save those for them for later. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if it's okay with the board and with staff, I can take those to my city and present them at next week's council meeting.
Yes, I'm agreeing. Thanks. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 11, considering and adopting a budget adjustment for our fiscal year 22-23. Mr. Kuzma.
Thank you. This item is comprised of 2 adjustments. It's overall very good news for us. The net budget adjustment amount is an increase in revenues of $138,000, but that is comprised of 2 items. The first item being budgetary revenue recognition of our closing of the Northgate properties, which we conservatively estimated at $1 million in proceeds coming into the airport. And with that, we expect that amount of $850,000 to be assigned to the Economic Development Reserve and the balance to the general fund. And then the second item is just basically a new budgetary line item. We've had some unexpected costs due to the delays in getting electrical power out to the Perimeter Road UAS Training Center site, and we've had to basically rent classroom space. And with that, that's the only 2 adjustments, and that concludes my report.
Move for approval.
We have a first and a second. Madam Clerk.
I have a motion by Member Valdivia and a second by Mayor Navarro. Please state your name for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Duper?
Yes.
Member Rigsby?
Yes.
Member Rao? Yes. Member Baca Jr.?
Baca, aye.
Member Valdivia?
Yes.
Member Reynoso?
Yes.
And Member Sanchez?
Yes.
Thank you. The item passes.
Okay, moving on to number 12, approve the form of a correction deed. Mr. Burrows.
Okay, and I was remiss in not recognizing Ms. Karen Feld to my left here. Karen is with the firm of Cole Huber. Mr. Lewin extends his regards, but he is called for jury duty today and doing his part there. But this actual item here, it's good that Karen's here because she was around when we got many of these deeds. So Parcel J, as the Air Force referred to it, is actually owned by Grace Apostolic Church and has been since 1995. And so they are a nonprofit operation and also a church congregation and have been good partners for us here at the former base. As the Hillwood survey crews worked on getting the ALTA maps and so forth ready for the property transfer, there was a remnant piece of property that was discovered that should have been dedicated by the GSA to the church. It's a back a curb. It actually has been maintained by the church since 1995 and continues to be maintained by the church. So we have worked with Grace Apostolic to be able to do a correction deed to essentially shift those property lines. And if you go to the next exhibit, Jen, it will show you what we're talking about here. So it's a it's not a lot of square footage, but it's important because the shipping, receiving for the back of the church and the nonprofit operations for their food and disaster relief support are on the far west side of the property. And as drawn, part of that ramp area would be cut off if we drew the property line where the original meets and bounds was. So this truly is just a correction. The corner, everything back a curb would just be reset to what has been historically done here. The church is more than willing to continue to maintain that in perpetuity, and we feel it's the right thing to do. We have had to do similar cleanups for bits and pieces throughout the BRAC transfer process. We just did not know about this one until the survey crews got out there and staked everything. So it's kind of resetting the clock here, but it's, I think, important that the church be allowed to continue to operate. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're looking for here.
Okay, and I think you mentioned it, that they're okay with this. No opposition from the church.
Yes, they've been more than amicable and supportive to be able to work with us on this and many others, so.
Great.
And then, okay. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from, yes, sir.
I just want to emphasize and make sure that this action is nothing more than a correction to the, essentially the property lines.
It absolutely is. The property line should have been set at the future location, and they were not. GSA typically transfers via meets and bounds, but they don't often include exhibits. So now we always use exhibits as plats. That's what uncovered the issue.
So there's nothing more, this is no additional entitlements or anything?
No,
This
sir.
is just an adjustment of the property line?
Exactly. Yeah. It resets the clock to what has historically been done. And it just gives them ownership of what they've been having to maintain, so.
Okay, with that, we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the staff recommendation.
A motion by Dr. Risby and a second.
Perfect. We have a motion by Member Rigsby and a second by Member Sanchez. Please state your vote for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Duper?
Yes.
Member Rigsby?
Yes.
Member Rao?
Yes.
Member Baca Jr.?
Buckeye.
Member Valdivia?
No.
Thank you. Member Reynoso?
Yes.
And Member Sanchez?
Yes.
Thank you. The item passes.
Thank you very much. Moving on to a report on the Victoria Avenue interchange project.
And I'm going to date myself here. Karen might remember this one too, unfortunately. So this is a project you may or may not have heard about. It has been a concept that's been out there for a long time. I think I started on this in 2005, and it's been something that has been regionally pursued for quite some time. So the Victoria Avenue interchange, just wanted to give context, so in case any of you hear about this, is an effort with the city of Highland. San Manuel, IVDA was an original stakeholder in this process, Caltrans and SBCTA, to look at the possibility to create a new interchange at Victoria Avenue. Any of you that have been driving eastbound on the 210 in the evenings, particularly on Thursdays, you can see the need for other avenues to be able to get traffic on and off the freeway here. So it is been through what's called the project study report. That's the first phase of entitlement for a Caltrans interchange. IVDA participated both operationally and financially in that. Thankfully, Caltrans did sign that, and that allows us to then move it on to the next phase, which is what they call the PAED phase. So that's the engineering and environmental stage of the process, which is the critical piece to start looking at various alignments, cost structures, potential impacts, and Caltrans really is in the review driver's seat of that. I'm happy to report that the continuing effort in this phase, both San Manuel and the city of Highland have agreed to fund that effort. So though IVDA had contributed potential funding for this next phase, it will not be necessary at this point because there's sufficient funds to continue the effort. There's multiple alignments being considered, all with pros and cons from a Caltrans perspective. And I just want to let you know that as it proceeds, IVDA is still included as a stakeholder in their project development team meetings. We're, and our staff are at the table with both the City of Highland, the City of San Bernardino staff, Caltrans, and SBCTA. So it's a combined effort. County Public Works is also participating now, and it's a work in process. So
Just wanted to also add that this is very important to the tribe.
it is. It is. So if any of you encounter any of our friends at San Manuel, this has been something that has been on their radar for quite some time. And as they've invested substantially, particularly in the Yamava Resort and other properties, this is a top priority for them.
Yeah, very much needed also.
It's just informational. Just want you, when you hear Victoria Interchange, that's what it is. And what alignments come out, they will be back in front of you along with your colleagues. So that's the end of my report.
Any questions from the dais? Seeing none. All right, Mike, let's move on to number 14.
Okay, so we come to yet another December here, and again, I want to thank you all for your leadership and patience with us throughout this year. We thought it appropriate, being on the doorfront of the holidays, to leave you all and any attendees here in the audience with something sweet for, our pageantry of, the end of this year and hopefully fruitful next year. So really thank each and every one of you for all your dedication and contribution to the IVDA and this region. So that concludes our report.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to open session public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public wishing to speak on an agendized item. If you'd like to, please step forward. Seeing nobody running down, we're going to move on to board member comment.
Oh, we've got two, Phil.
Oh, we did have two. I'm sorry, I was moving too quickly. Okay, Delis Ospino.
I'm gonna be translating for him.
Okay, thank you very much.
Buenas tardes a todos. Tengo 2 años de estar viviendo aquí al frente en la posada RV Trailer Park.
Good evening, everyone. I've been living here for 2 years in the Posada Trailer Park.
Estoy empezando una nueva vida y estoy recibiendo el SSA y el Seguro Social para un total de $1,200 mensuales.
I'm starting a new life and I'm getting the Social Security for a total of $1,200.
Y estoy pagando $475 de renta.
And I'm paying $475 of rent.
Ahora, nos hemos dado cuenta de todo este movimiento a través de los activistas del sindicato, muchos de la comunidad hispana, pero como no hablamos bien inglés, estamos asustados y estamos aterrados.
So we've been finding information thanks to the community organizations, and because we don't speak English, we're afraid of what's happening.
Porque la situación es que entendemos que la dueña va a vender y nos van a dar 90 días para movernos. El problema es dónde vamos a vivir pagando $475 mensuales.
So from what I understand, the owner of the trailer park is planning to sell, and now renters like myself don't know where we're gonna be living, especially paying $475 per month.
Y como estoy yo asustado, pues están los otros, solo que yo tengo un poquito más de ánimo y vengo y hablo.
There's also other people like myself, but I'm here today because I have the motivation to speak in front of all of you.
Entonces, por ejemplo, yo he llenado esto, los amigos y yo estamos llenando, somos casi todos viejos los que estamos aquí, y estamos llenando aplicaciones para los edificios de senior de senior, pero la lista de espera es de 5 años.
So some people like myself who are seniors, we are filling out applications to be living in senior facilities, but the waiting time is 5 years.
Entonces, yo le pediría al condado, a la ciudad o a las ciudades que hicieran un programa especial para nosotros los pobres y sobre todo los hispanos, de un programa especial que podamos avanzar en esas listas de espera para podernos mover si nos tenemos que mover antes.
So I asked the city to think about creating programs and resources for low-income communities. If we have to relocate, that there's a plan for people like myself that can find another home that is affordable.
Sí, la idea no es que si nos van a dar un dinero y muévanse, ¿dónde vamos a vivir? Porque esas trailers, por ejemplo, la mía es del 98 y en ningún parque la quieren.
So the idea is not just to give money and move to another place, because my trailer is from the 98 and nobody else wants me to live in another place with my trailer.
Sí, porque las regulaciones son que los parques tienen que recibir trailers del 2004 para adelante.
Because other parks ask to get trailers from 2004 and on.
Solo que la dueña es muy noble con las personas que hemos tenido problemas y nos accedió a meternos a muchos allí con ese problema.
The owner, it's accessible to all of us, and that's how I've been able to live there.
Entonces, en conclusión, que se haga un programa especial para, sobre todo en español, para la comunidad que hablamos español, y que nos dieran una preferencia en las listas para entrar a los apartamentos con las diferentes ciudades y que no terminemos de homeless, pues.
In conclusion, I just want to say that I hope there's a relocation plan, especially for low-income communities who live in the trailer like myself, and that it's accessible to those who don't speak English as well.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Okay, Andrea Viradure? I'm sorry about the last name, if I'm not.
It's okay, it's a hard one. Hi everybody, my name is Andrea Vidaurre. I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. I'm part of the San Bernardino Airport Communities Coalition. And over the past couple of years, we've come forward to the airport and then to both the county and different cities with concerns about how industrial development is being conducted throughout these different communities. We're incredibly concerned that although the job numbers have grown, that the quality of these jobs haven't. And we see the product of that with the number of people experiencing homelessness or having to have 2 jobs just to get by. In addition to these job quality concerns, we also know that we have incredibly high levels of air pollution and traffic congestion, and there is no real answer for this from anybody yet. That being said, we've also approached this board in the past with solutions like community benefits agreements and setting higher standards for the community. Solutions like setting higher standards for employers that'll make them bring in the highest level of technology for mitigation, and then also for limiting the use of temp agencies, raising the wage, real buffering so that people don't have to live right next to industrial development, et cetera. All of these solutions that we hope can be seen. In the coming months, this board is going to be reviewing the Airport Gateway specific plan. The draft environmental report just came out. And so I just want to stress that this project is going to be over 7 million, I think actually over 9 million square feet of industrial development just north of the airport, putting a bunch of people, thousands, I believe it's over 2,000 families at risk of displacement, on top of putting thousands of other families at risk of having a warehouse right next to their house, right next to their home, and park and school, et cetera. And so I'm here just to stress how important community engagement is going to be. It's not going to be just one meeting. It's going to be multiple meetings. It's hopefully going to be at night. It's going to be in the different communities, both the ones that might be displaced and both at the places that might have to have a warehouse next door to them, so that we can come up with solutions like real buffering, what kind of technology to bring in, what kind of job standards to set, et cetera. So yeah, just wanted to say, just kind of have that as our end of the year kind of notice that we want to be engaging in this for the next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your suggestions. Miriam Nieto?
Hi, my name is Miriam Nieto, and I am with the coalition Just San Bernardino. And I am here to ask that, just like my colleague said, right, that you guys please take into consideration community engagement and to continue to work, or if you guys haven't already, work with community organizations who are doing some of the organizing and informing these community members of what's going to happen. Give them resources, give us the resources and education and knowledge that you guys are receiving on your end that we might not have, so that we can also support the communities. Please consider the people who are living in these areas. Warehouses is not a good view to have when you're playing outside in your yard, as well as when you're out in the schools. So please consider the communities, consider a plan for displacement, and yes, do this right. We hope that you guys are doing this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. Michael Segura.
Hello, everyone. So just to echo what my colleagues just said, Andrea, Miriam, so I'm with Just San Bernardino. I'm also with the Airport Communities Coalition. And so we fought Eastgate in the past, and not because of the development, but for good jobs, cleaner air. So we're not anti-development. We just want to make sure communities are taken care of, especially the poorest of us that we're thought about. As you're with your families during this Christmas holidays or during the season, right? The Christmas season, the holiday season. Think about that. Think about these families who may lose their homes, who may be on the streets, who need food, who don't have the same resources as you. And again, with the specific plan, what is your guys' plan for community engagement? And how are you guys actually collecting data so we can see that as well as community groups? So we can see those numbers, we understand there's transparency in this plan, we understand how many people you've spoken to, possibly focus groups that are done within the community. And if you guys are gonna hire outside consultants, why not hire local community organizations? I think that's been one of my big issues with cities. I've seen it with the city of San Bernardino with the specific plan, the downtown specific plan, as well as their general plan. They went and they hired these outside groups and their numbers are really low. So we're paying them, 300K, and they're not really delivering any community engagement. So just thinking about that, trying to do something new, right? Change the past narrative. So thank you, John. I know Ben, I know Teddy. I've been a longtime resident of San Bernardino, so just do what's right for people. And I know Joe as well. You've been to my house. So do what's right for the people of San Bernardino. Think about the families in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Is it Andre Harris?
Hello, how you doing? My name is Andre Harris. Is there a timer on this? Because
Yes.
the last place that I attended in San Bernardino, there was a 3-minute timer.
Yes.
And I wasn't able to say what I really wanted to say. They cut me off. But my concern, I'm all for progress. And
Mr. Chair, point of order. Ms. Clerk, do we have a timer?
Yes.
It's available?
I have it going.
Started it.
Yeah.
So to be fair, let's start it. We'll start it over
We'll
right
start over,
now.
yeah.
Okay?
So yes, we have a timer.
So 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm the owner on Maryland Street, not too far from here. I've been a resident in the area for over 30, 40 years. I own half a block from 4th to Court Street. And my concern is, like I said, I'm all for progress, but not at the expense of my health or my family health. Some of these projects are being approved and they are 30 to 100 feet away from homes, from what I understand. And they're saying for a person to be considerably safe, you would have to be 1,000 feet, but that's not happening. There's all these agencies Colton, Highland, San Bernardino. And I don't know if you guys are communicating, but they just approved 7 more warehouses to be developed. And then there's more. I don't want to mentally have to get into a situation where there's congestion, pollution. We got Southern Edison over here polluting. We have fires constantly from the forest department that's here. So we're constantly getting polluted out. And then the environmental report. Are you taking in consideration those with health problems, asthma, the pandemic, who has respiratory illness? What are their chance and livelihood of not getting sick? They call industrial warehousing the death zone, because of the pollution. And what about the noise pollution? You have to be within 25 miles not to be affected just from the noise from the airplane. That's a fact. So we're not just getting pollution, smoke pollution, but we're also getting air pollution, we're getting noise pollution, there's pollution. And then what about how it transcends over to Crestline? I have property in Crestline, so all this pollution is sitting in Crestline. That was an issue as well. So, I mean, I don't think you guys are taking in consideration that we need to be relocated, and it needs to be fair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Leonardo Penalosa.
Hello, my name is Leonardo Peñalosa. I was born and raised here in San Bernardino. I did not come here to speak, but just hearing my fellow neighbors speaking inspired me to speak. Fellow coworkers back there just inspired me to come here and say that I come to tell you guys that you guys should really keep in mind the citizens. Like I said, I go to San Bernardino High School, although my home school is Indian Springs, and hearing about the airport rezoning that you guys are trying to do or may do, seeing that Indian Springs may be right next to a warehouse and seeing that fellow peers of mine at the district may have to go to school with the warehouse right next to them, knowing that there's going to be pollution coming in from trucks. It's going to be affecting them, affecting their breathing, as well as the citizens that live in these communities. So like I said, or like I'm saying, I hope that you guys do take in mind the community around you guys. These are going to be the people that elected you guys to this board, and I hope that you guys have their best interest at hearts. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our public comments. Open it up for member comments.
When's the first community input hearing?
So we have January 12th at the Sterling Natural Resource Center, just up on 5th Street, will be the open house style meeting, the first, and gauging input from that. We will schedule additional meetings from there. On the IVDA website, as of this week, we do have finally the program EIR available to everyone, so I would encourage anyone with interest, get on IVDAJPA.org, look at the materials there, and then our first series of mailers in both Spanish and English have just gone out. There will be an additional series educating and trying to draw people to the January 12th meeting, and you will all have that collateral and more as it becomes available, as well as in my weekly updates. So we're just getting started, and really appreciate everybody's feedback. Please keep it coming, because this is a journey, and we're along this together. So.
And what time is that meeting on the 12th?
It'll be in the evening. I believe we've got it at 6 p.m., but I'll confirm that.
What's the mailing distance that you sent out?
Quarter mile.
And thank you for your comments, by the way.
Any other comments from the board? Yes. Supervisor?
At some point throughout, we've talked about agendizing for discussion the co-chair sort of awkwardness of this board.
Yes, yes, and given that we regrettably have a vacancy in vice chair, typically our mode is to just automatically agendize it for the next meeting in January. If that is, meets with the pleasure of the board, we'd be happy to do that.
Not that I want to divorce Phil, but
No.
no, I just think it's clunky.
Yeah.
It's cumbersome, it's not ideal, I think, in terms of a way to govern, and I think it would be better to have a more traditional structure, so I would like to see that agendized for discussion.
Staff will do so, thank you.
Thank you. You okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have a great relationship, by the way.
I love Mayor Duper.
Anyway, okay, seeing no other comments from board members, we will move for adjournment. A motion, so moved. Second. Second. All in agreement?
Yes.
We'll see you in January.
Happy
And thank
holidays.
you for your comments, everyone, too.